What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lasting Thoughts Podcast. I am your host, Digital Relaxation, and we are back again for another episode. And before we get started, as always, if you guys enjoy what you hear, what you're gonna hear, please be sure to share, rate this, and all of that goodness. Few things before I get into this. One thing I've been thinking about, obviously, not rebranded, but I guess maybe rebrand. I don't know what's the best word, but finding the right way to brand myself along with my podcast. Like I said, the fact I've been thinking of changing my Digital Relaxation name because obviously it doesn't work as a name, but keeping it as a brand. So I don't know. I'm gonna work on it, and if I end up changing something, I'll let you guys know. Second thing, I guess this goes interchange with the second and third thing. So, of course, my last episode, if you did not listen to it, I had a guest, Black Moriarty. He's the host of Mutinous. He does a lot of comic book and technology reviews and introspective thoughts about like where he thinks things are going to go in the future with certain things and different ways to perceive them. So he has a good open mind on things. He don't really just let one narrative drive his focus, I guess. Like some people, like for example, we talked about She-Hulk and how usually the general consensus was everybody didn't like She-Hulk, but we both understood like what its overall purpose was. So we was able to figure it out, what made it good and what made it work compared to why people just didn't like it for the simple reasons. So, you could check him out and check the podcast out if you missed it. It was a pretty hefty one. But because of that, I didn't get to properly celebrate my second year of this podcast. It was October, I think the 21st. Yeah, the 21st when I first uploaded my first episode. So I missed that. So yeah, 2 years of Relaxing Thoughts podcast. I mean, I still enjoy it. Hopefully, well, I feel myself getting better at doing this compared to like if I go back and listen to my first episode, it's like sounded like, well, it was kind of a theme I was trying to do, but the quality just didn't sound too good. And of course, since then I changed my mic. So, but I gotten better at it. I guess I got more comfortable just talking. 'Cause I'm usually not a talking person, or well, the thing is that I'm usually not a talkative person because there's not a lot of people I can speak to because people just don't know how to talk to me or how to hold a conversation with me. So which makes that last episode good because it was like we both understood how to like see certain things. So yeah, gotta talk to like-minded people in your life. So yeah, let's get started. This episode, I usually always say this and end up might being long, but this episode is kind of going to be short because this is going to be the review episode. There's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to keep this what I've been up to section brief because the whole episode is basically going to be what I've been up to. But aside from those things, what else I've been up to is I've been I'm trying to, like I said, this month and probably December is just going to be spending money month. And I mean, obviously, usually because Christmas season and all that, but it's not even for that too. It's also just for things I want to plan for next year. So I want to get as much as I can out the way before this year ends. So, and it lines up because usually, we get Black Friday deals and whatnot. So I'm able to probably get deals on things and whatnot. But also a lot of things happened and some of the things I'm going to talk about. So yeah, I'm still, well, I gotten everything I want because I want to upgrade my PC. So I gotten the parts that I want. So obviously I'm just gonna wait until probably Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever, and see if they drop in price, because it's a lot. It's a lot. If I just buy it right now, it's a hefty coin I'm spending. But so yeah, hopefully the prices go down on at least some of them, if not all of them, by that time. I still want to buy more things for my home to decorate and whatnot. Still, like, I got nothing for the most part hanging up on my walls. I want to buy more stuff on my walls, more stuff to hold certain things so I can collect more things. It's just a lot. So I'm just doing a lot of planning and figuring out and seeing what to get and when to get it type stuff right now. Because for the most part, once next year comes, that's when probably gonna just be saving as much as I can. And of course they doing leaf blowing outside, so if you hear that, sorry. They actually woke me up, bro. Like, he went literally like right to my window and just turned it on full blast. Like, it wasn't like he turned it on and he slowly started walking to my window, so it was like maybe it slowly got louder, so maybe I would have heard it a lot sooner. But it's like he literally went to my window, then turned the leaf blower on full blast. I'm like, bro, I'm thinking something going on by my window. I'm like, what the heck is all of that? So that was a great way to wake up. But yeah, not ranting about that. But yeah, just trying to figure out what I'm doing, what I want to spend my money on. And prepping to just do stuff in my life, and constantly fighting my inner demons, as I always do. I was kind of going to probably talk about it this episode, but I think I'm just going to leave it and just talk about all this other stuff. And yeah, hopefully, I don't know if it's going to happen, but hopefully I can get one more guest before this year ends, which, I mean, we already almost done with November. I mean, not almost done, but we almost done with November. The end of the year always goes fast, and it makes people feel like the entire year was fast. They're like, damn, like it's already almost over. I'm like, it's just the end of the year that's always fast. And usually because of, like, for me personally, like I said, it's a lot that happens. Like, November alone is a lot. Like, there's been 5 birthdays that have passed that I like from people that I know, and there's still more before November ends. Then there's December. So a lot is happening back to back every time. And one thing I do always notice, and I'm pretty sure this is for everyone as well, but if you set like a due date on anything, that's when time goes by fast, because now you have the anxiety and the pressure of, oh, I need to do this before time hits, and time starts running a little bit faster. That's usually with schoolwork as well. Like, you thinking like, oh, like, especially just those classes when I was in college, like, they would give you like, oh, this is your assignment and it's done by the end of the semester. And you're like, oh man, I got a few months to do this assignment. The next thing you're on the last week and you didn't even start yet. So yeah, when you put dates on things, that's when time goes fast. So unfortunately for me, there's a lot of things happening throughout the final part of the year that makes the end of the year goes by fast for me. But the majority of the year was pretty decent. I actually forgot. I'm not even sure. Like, I'm not even, because I don't remember this year, but I'm pretty sure I had a few guests this year. And I don't even remember doing all of that. I thought that was last year. I don't remember. But yeah, I had a few guests this year. There was that. There was my music, which I started planning on my music last year, and it took me to August? No, not August. When did it come out? I think it came out August. So it took me till basically halfway through the year to get that out. So yeah, it was a pretty eventful year. I'll probably talk more about it on the end of the year wrap up episode again. Maybe the last one I did. If you didn't hear that one, I had a guest for that one too. That was a pretty long episode as well. But yeah, let me see. I dropped this one. Oh wow, I got one more for November. Huh. So I think that's 3 episodes in 1 month. Nice. I'm looking at my podcast release schedule right now. Don't mind me. And I'm only gonna have 2 for December, but this one gonna fall close enough to the end of the year. And if I do, I had to do the end of the year one on December. If I do it on next year, it's not gonna be late, but it could be a New Year resolution type episode. I don't know, whatever. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Sorry. So let's get into the review episode. I'm going to be talking. I'm going to try not to. Well, some of these things are personal thoughts, and some of these are. I could possibly do review spoilers, but I'm going to try not to spoil anything. I'm just going to try to just give my opinion and my feelings and my thoughts on everything. Starting with the least thing I can talk about is music. The most recent thing that came out was Nas King's Disease 3. So a little double backstory on this. I should have wrote this down. So Nas, I believe this started in 2020. Yeah, so for what? Damn, I thought it was 5 years. So in 2 years, this man dropped 4 albums. And when he dropped King Disease 2, I was already concerned. I'm like, bro, like you just dropped the first one. And I think he dropped them both in the same year. If I'm not, no, 20, no. All right. He dropped King Disease 2 and Magic in the same year. I'm like, bro, like this man dropping albums like he trying to become a rapper, like he's trying to become a new hot rapper again. I'm like, bro, like your legacy is cemented. Like, what are you doing? So he dropped 4 albums in the span of 2 years. Great albums as well. And the thing about me and Nas is, aside from Illmatic, and I listened to Illmatic through, I guess it's one of those, because I like to listen to albums that's like, I like to go back and listen to albums. Especially now that I got to the point in my life where I enjoy listening to albums more than singles. Usually used to be the other way around. I used to buy albums just to listen to the single and skip the whole album. But so it was one of those things like I want to go back and listen to albums that people hold as like, you know, these are the holy grails of albums. And the thing about Illmatic, I believe Illmatic is only 2 days older than me, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Oh no, I'm 2 days older than Illmatic. So me and Illmatic are growing up together in a sense. 94 was a good year. We had Ready to Die as well. And I believe Tupac dropped what you call it? Me Against the World in 94. Let me see. No, he dropped in 95. Oops. Yeah. But yeah, so I only listened to not the Illmatic album because it was like one of those albums that, like, you know, you ain't heard Illmatic, you know, you only, are you listening to hip hop type thing. So I've only listened to Illmatic. Other than that, I mean, I heard, like I said, I know the hit songs and the popular songs of Nas. I was there during the Ether and Takeover beef. I remember the time. I was still kind of too young, but I remember when I was young, my brother and I were walking home from school, and he usually walked with his friends, and they were saying they're debating Ether over Takeover, and I'm like, damn. And at the time, I preferred Takeover because Jay-Z's style was more. It was more. I don't know what to call it. Like it fit more to the times of the early 2000s, which the flashy era and being dope and being styled out and having money or whatever. Nas never really talked about none of that stuff. So and I like the Takeover beat more than Ether, which I believe Kanye did Takeover, and who would have known Ron Browse did Ether, which I don't know nothing about Ron Browse, obviously. I don't even know anything he has done leading up to Ether and after Ether besides 2007, 2008, where he decided that he wants to just become a rapper, and that's when the auto-tune thing was taken over, and he dropped Pop Champagne, Jumping Out the Window. He did the hook on A-Rap Money, but in some of the songs he would always say Ether Boy. I never understood why he said that, and me being me, I thought that because this is my first time hearing him, that he's a younger artist, and I'm like, to know that he did the Ether beat, know that he was around a lot longer. So yeah, so despite the terrible what do you call it, the Forest Time music he dropped the Ether beat, which I mean it's a decent beat, but not a beat that I'll rap over. And that was something that Nas also talked about in King Disease 3 about, when you hear about Nas, you always hear that he picked bad beats and whatever. So yeah, King Disease 3, great album, and no features on it, so it was just straight up him just going in. Great album. I don't have, let me see if I get the list. I know one of the songs that I like was First Time, which the concept of the song was talking about the first time you heard Nas and the first time he heard certain rappers and stuff that got him influence. I don't know which song it was, but it was a song where he was talking and he mentioned that he's listening to Takeover and dissecting the bars, and then he decides to text Jay-Z and say, yo, this beef still ain't over. Like, dope. Like, to have that respect and admiration for someone that, at one point, well, the story of them, they was friends, and then the Takeover Ether battle happened, and then they squashed it and became cool again. It's nice to go through that journey with somebody as well, to be able to live long enough to squash beef, because unfortunately we got Tupac and Biggie, who they were once friends, and then they got into their beef. Unfortunately, they was never able to squash it. So it was nice that Jay-Z and Nas were able to do it. But personally, I also said that because there was this running joke that every time Nas would drop something, Jay-Z would drop. So I guess maybe that was one thing that he did too, to combat Jay-Z dropping. So he dropped 4 albums in the span of 2 years. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jay-Z did something after King Disease 1 drop. I think it was a single or something. But he did drop something after King Disease dropped to fill that theory up. But I feel like Nas did the King Disease trilogy to combat Jay-Z's Blueprint trilogy, so that it's just like I said, they building your legacy. So like when they both gone and whatnot, we could both talk about their music, their early, Reasonable Doubt versus Illmatic, the Blueprint trilogy versus the King Disease trilogy, Ether versus Takeover. So they have a whole thing that they can they can always be competed against, of course, in a good manner, but it's nice. It's like planning ahead for longevity in your careers. But yeah, King Disease 3, I was listening to it and I got inspired Like I almost wanted to start doing the music again. I was like, nah, it's too soon. So, but that says a lot because it's usually rare. It's not rare, but it says a lot about your music cause this would be the second time this happened in a sense. Back in 2017, I came back to rapping on top of that. And I dropped my project since then, and literally like within a week or so, Novelist dropped his album Cerebral Apex, and that album alone made me want to do another album, which it took 2 years for that album to come. But that album that I made 2 years later was solely based on that I wanted to make that album because of Novelist album. So, like I said, I just recently dropped my Deliberation project, which is streaming on platforms. And to hear King Disease, and I already want to do almost wanted to do another album. So that says a lot that Nas can still what's this? Almost 3 decades later, still drop music that can motivate you and inspire you like that. So definitely check out King Disease 3. Check out the whole trilogy if you want. Good album. I can't say if it's best. Like I said, the only references I have is from Illmatic and these last 4 albums I heard. I have not heard an entire Nas album in between Illmatic to King Disease. So I can't tell you if it's his best work, but it's definitely up there in the stuff that I heard. But speaking of Novelist, I believe on the 17th he should be dropping his Vagabond EP, so be on the lookout for that. Probably gonna maybe talk about it as well when it comes out. So there's that. And I don't know if Absol is dropping. He dropped. He's working this single. Gotta do better or do better. Which I don't know if I talked about it, but he did come back because he first came back with the Hollandaise single early in the year. Then he dropped Shoot for the Moon or Shoot for the Stars, something like that. He dropped the visualizer for that song, but those 2 songs kind of just, he just dropped them and that was it. Then he came back with a music video for Do Better, which kind of, details all of his inner demons, and which I recently found out. I didn't even know this because Absol is, usually quiet in the public eye, but apparently, one of the reasons why he'd been gone from music as a while was because at one point he almost tried to jump off a bridge and take his own life, which is more I say is more powerful or more meaningful that in the video he depicts himself jumping off a building, which I believe he actually did the stunt himself. They showed the behind the scene video of him actually doing the stunt himself. So for him to want to recreate what was something he was really going to do in his life takes, that's a form of when you can finally move on from what's been really holding you down and whatnot, that you can face your pain in his face and still move on. So hopefully this is him guaranteeing us an album. There's been nothing about it, but he dropped that video, then he dropped the lyric video, so he's kind of, this is the one that he's kind of like, this is his song right now. But hopefully we get a project, and yeah. Absolutely. So moving on from music, talk about some video games. The first game, the first game, I've been talking about it, but since then I have beaten it, which is the sequel to Plague Tale Innocence, which is Plague Tale Requiem. This game is, in terms of budget and whatnot, definitely is a big step up from the first game. The first game felt more like a AA game. This one feels more AAA. It's a lot longer too, but good game. Great story. They kind of give a quick synopsis, I guess, the best I can. I don't know if I can give a synopsis without talking about the first one, and I don't want to spoil the first one, but I guess the overall story is this takes place in the time of the plague, or I don't know what time period this would be, but this is during the plague. Alchemy and all of that is still a big thing in the times. Well, it's kind of not a big thing, but it's kind of like a special thing. Like some people, like when you do certain things, people are like, what the heck did you just do? Like, oh, it's alchemy. So it's that time period, I guess, if that helps. So the thing is that I don't know how it works exactly, but the main character, her little brother Hugo, is, I guess, cursed with something in his blood that's basically slowly killing him. But the thing is that as the plague is, the rats, they are like basically just destroying cities and killing everybody, and they seem to respond to his blood. So the whole point of basically these two games is trying to fix her brother, but obviously different people have different motives of why they want to use his power and his influence. So it's trying to keep him safe and trying to heal him, and all of that. So that's basically the two games. That wasn't probably the best telling I can tell, but yeah. But great game. The first game was more stealth heavy. The main character is Amicia, I believe it's her name. Her only, I don't want to say, well, yeah, her only form of combat in a sense is the sling she used, which, I mean, not technically a slingshot, but it's like having a slingshot, but it's one-handed. Like you toss it and you aim where you want it to hit. But she uses a sling and, like I said, some alchemy. But for the most part, in the first game, she wasn't too deadly towards people. If they had helmets on, it's automatically she can't do nothing to them. So you would have to use the environment to either sneak by or you let the rats take them, which the rats are, they don't go towards any form of light, any source of light. So using fire is a big thing. So usually some guards would do like patrols at the night, and they would be walking around with a torch, and you can knock the torch out their hand or extinguish the fire, and the rats would just jump right on them. So in this game, she's gotten a little bit more combat, but she's still not too, like, they don't overpower her. Like, she's still like, because she's not like, she's not a big built girl. She's still like in her, I don't know if I was to give a good age, I'll probably say the oldest she would probably be 18 maybe. She's a skinny built teen, so she's not just knocking dudes down like it's nothing. But like I said, they don't have a helmet on. The sling is knocking them down. But other than that, if they have big armor or whatever, you gotta find weak spots, or like I said, use the environment around them to bypass them, or just completely just go past them. And yeah, great game, great story. I don't want to spoil anything. Fortunately, the first game, the way I played them two games were on the Game Pass. But since the sequel came out, they took the first game out from the Game Pass, so you would have to buy the first game if you did not play it yet. And if you do have an Xbox and own the Game Pass, well, I guess the PC as well, and you own the Game Pass, you can play the sequel right now on the Game Pass for free. So yeah, check it out if you haven't played it. It's a good game, good story, good change of pace. Like I said, I've been getting tired of playing the same old game, which is funny. Well, speaking of that, because I'm gonna touch on it lightly. Apex did drop, and the last time I did talk about Apex was I talked about the new character that was coming out and all of that. So since that character came out and the new map came out, first impressions, I do not like that map at all. It's terrible. Not to say I haven't been doing my thing, but I just don't like the map at all. It doesn't work at all for me personally. It's just too much. It's three things that happens in the game that it usually happens in every game, but it happens a lot in this game. Three things happen. You go the entire game without finding a single team because the map is so huge and everybody's on the other side of the map. Two, everybody is sniping you from 10 miles away because the map is so huge, and you are always stuck in a spot where if you go behind one wall, somebody got another angle and you sniping from another spot. It's annoying. The next thing that happens is, for some reason, the entire lobby will go to the same exact spot once you start a fight. I can't tell you how many times me and my team done fought like 4 teams in a row because everyone just kept on going to the same spot, and it's like annoying. And because of the whole rank system too, again, like you sit there and fight like 4 teams and you do all of that and then you lose, only to find out that you probably only got like 1 point of RP. I'm like, bruh, it's like not worth it. So I don't like the map. The new legend catalyst, they cool. They alright. I don't want to say they OP, but they can be OP if you know how to use them. But other than that, they're decent. Won't completely complain about them at all. But they're right. One of their abilities is, their passive ability is they can reinforce doors, or if there's a door broken off, they can put whoever this black goo substance they have as a door holder, which will take more time to break it down if you're trying to get inside. And then you can, which I have seen happen, that if you have a team that's in a building, you can lock them inside in a sense, basically, and just trying to trap them so you can get the drop on them. Another ability that they throw these projectiles where it's like a black goo on the floor, and you get close to it, it will expand up into spikes and hurt you and slow you down if you can step into it. But it can be destroyed if you shoot like the source of its energy. I didn't know that would be a thing, so I thought they might be OP if there's no way around it. But since there is a way around it, it's not bad. And their ult is they just throw a giant wall of the black goo substance, and it blocks your view. If you go through it, if the enemy goes through it, they basically they slow down, they can't see nothing. So people who has that person on their team use it as a way to like shift between the walls to get shots on you and hide back and cover. Essentially, they like a freaking Fortnite character. But yeah, so whatever, it's all right. Don't care too much about it. But the next game, which I did say this was a game I was anticipating, but I forgot that it was coming out so soon. Like I said, so much was happening this year, man. Well, this month. And we only halfway through the month, bro. It's King Disease dropped. This next thing I'm about to talk about dropping. 2 more things I'm gonna talk about dropped. in the span of this month. And we only halfway through it. All right. Sonic Frontiers, the latest installment of the Sonic franchise. When this game was first revealed, it was mixed/negative reviews because IGN didn't know how to properly showcase the game. And some of that also falls on Sega for us. Because we would assume that they seen the trailer and they were like, IGN were like, oh, hey, you think we should put this out? And they saw it and they're like, yeah, go ahead. And no, it wasn't a good representation of the game. So a lot of people wasn't sure about the game. Like I said, Sonic has a very up and down track list. It's very hit or miss. But when if it misses, it missed badly. If it hits decently, like as of late. So people wasn't sure, but then people who had early hands time on it from certain expos played it. And they're like, don't let that trailer fool you. It's actually a pretty decent game. And I haven't played a Sonic game. Granted, Sonic is one of my favorite franchises ever, but I'm very biased to 3 specific games of the Sonic franchise, which I made a whole YouTube video talking about them. But I played Unleashed a little bit. I never owned it. I recently got Generations because it was on sale. And I played Mania, which I don't really like 2D Sonic, but I played it. I got it on the Switch. And I think I got it on my PC for free as well, but I just didn't play it. What else came out? I didn't play none of the gimmick ones that came out on the Wii and whatever, like the Knights or whatever. I did not play Colors, not the remade version either. I didn't play Forces. I didn't play Boom, which I believe that was a Wii U exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. So yeah, I haven't really played Sonic games like that beside the older ones. So I wanted to get into this one. Hearing that it was open world, I was like, all right, I might, let's get it. I haven't played Sonic in a while. I missed the franchise. The movie's been good too, so had hope. So got the game, started playing it. I am currently towards the end of the game, so I can't give a full review about it. But couple of things. I guess I'll get out the somewhat negative first. The first thing is the open world. When you first start playing the game, it feels like you're just thrown into it. I mean, technically, that's what happens in the storyline. Just the way the game starts is Sonic, Amy, and Tails just on the Tornado, which is the plane that's Tails fly. They just flying around chilling, and they just get sucked into this dimension or whatever. And basically, that's it. You're playing in this perspective of Sonic being introduced into this new world, so you're exploring this new world as Sonic would be exploring it too. So it makes sense why you feel like you're kind of just thrown into the game. There's no real Eggman made a brief appearance in the beginning as well, but his usually when Eggman do something in the beginning, it's made obvious why we need to play the game. Sonic Adventure 1, we fight Chaos in the beginning of the game, but then Eggman comes and shows, and he's like, oh, no. Eggman talks about Chaos as if he knows what Chaos is, and so this is Eggman doing, all right, we need to stop Chaos and Eggman. Sonic Heroes, you get the flyer that Eggman is trying to conquer the world, even though that was actually a trap by Metal Sonic, who just wanted to collect everyone's data. But we thought oh, Eggman is doing something again, let's stop him. And everybody else had their own storylines too of why they did the story. So this game was oh, we just chilling. Eggman gets trapped in the cyber world. You get trapped in the cyber world, but you don't meet Eggman until where I'm at in the game, honestly. It's the first time Eggman and Sonic actually cross paths in the game, which I said, I'm towards the end of the game now. But Yeah, so you're just in a new world, no understanding what's going on. This little digital avatar keeps speaking to you, and she's being very vague and cryptic, so you're not understanding what's going on. And you get a bunch of like glimpses and flashbacks of what has happened to this world, because the world looking very like ancient, but it's, you know, dead, and no, there's nothing going on, there's nobody around, it's just taken over by these machines. So we're trying to understand what's going on. So that might be a bad thing, but like I said, once you understand that that's technically, I guess, the whole purpose of what you're supposed to be feeling in the game, then it's not that bad. Because when I first I made the mistake kind of playing the game. When I first played the game, I was kind of tired, so I was like, this open world feels kind of empty. I don't like it. They should have just stuck with doing level by level. But then the next day after I woke up and I got had energy, I'm like, oh, it's actually a pretty good game. So yeah, the game is good. I enjoyed the game a lot. So the way the game works is it does the typical open world stuff. You got to find like these certain points that will open the map up, so you can see where to go. You got certain there's different maps too. So you are in the game in one part of the map, and then once you do everything you need to do in that map, you go to another map. So it's like very mission based in the sense of going across the map. You have a reason to be going across the map. Some of it doesn't require you, here the leaf blowers again, some of it don't require you to do levels. Like some of it like is you're out and about and you fight certain mini bosses in the game, and you get certain items from them, so that you can use the items to retrieve a chaos emerald or something. So it all makes sense. It keeps you busy. It's a good game. Then they have the specific levels. That's, you know, the typical traditional Sonic levels. You run to the end goal, but they give you like four missions in a sense to do. So one of them is beating the level in a certain time, collecting a certain amount of coins when you beat the game, collecting the red rings, which I believe those came in. I don't know when when did those first came into the game, into the Sonic game? I think they were in Generations. I'm not sure. I want to think of an equivalent way to say that. I think Mario introduced something like that too, where they had the red coins or something like that as well. And then the other one is just beating the level. Yeah. Those are usually the four same goals, but some of them vary. Like one of them is beat the game with 30 coins, the other one beat the game with 80 coins, so that one varies. The time varies. If the level is a long one, or if it's a short one, they want you to beat even shorter. So that's mainly it. But one thing that I noticed about this game, and that is probably my biggest praise point, is the characters. I was confused at first because, usually, when they cast new people to do the voice acting of certain characters that you've grown to love, especially as old as Sonic, like you're used to hearing him a certain way, like from video games, even in the Sonic X anime, he usually sounds a certain way. So this game, I'm like, this man voice sounding deeper, he sounds more older, everybody sounds more older. I'm like, I don't know if I like this casting at first. And then as you actually like sit there and play the game and listen to the dialogue and how they talk to each other, I'm like, oh, these are technically the characters we like grown up with, but they grown up too. They even reference a lot of the previous game, which I guess this kind of canonize a lot of games, I guess, in this franchise. Well, in this specific game. So if you wasn't sure on how, cause like I said, I always put the Sonic Adventure games, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, Shout Out the Hedgehog, and Sonic 06 as one story, and everything that came after it is a different timeline. But this game kind of confirms that everything that happened after that game actually happens in the same timeline as well, because they reference Sonic Adventure 1, then they even reference Sonic Forces. So all of that is happening in the same timeline. But the first time I got it, because the first character that you have to save from the cyber world is Amy, and that was the biggest change, because you literally see how their relationship has grown from Amy always obsessing over Sonic, and Sonic is everything, to they both just talk to each other like they are great friends and have a great understanding of each other, and they respect each other. I'm like, bro, like they mad mature now. Like Sonic don't, like Amy does not really trip over Sonic, not even once. She only shows care about Sonic if it looks like he's like struggling. But once he's like reassures her that he's good, then she's like, all right, you good then. But she doesn't like trip over Sonic at all. She even made a mention that like she wants to do something once she gets out of the cyber world, and she say that if it means that she has to be away from Sonic, so be it. But she feel like she has to do something. Like, bruh, like she's willingly saying that she wants to do something, and if it means that she can't be with Sonic for the moment, she's with it. I'm like, damn. So these are definitely the characters that like you if you've been playing the Sonic franchise, you like, these are the grown-up version of these characters. Like, you've seen how they were when you first played the old Sonic games to see how they act now. So it's a very, very great game, very great characters development. And like I said, I'm almost done with it, but I recommend it still. It's a good game, especially like I said, change the pace, stop playing the same games over, play something different. So Sonic Frontiers, good. All right, that's it for video games. Going into the film section. This one is gonna be a short review, but like I said, I like to go back and watch older movies, and this was it was free on the YouTube thing, because I got the premium YouTube. So I was like, oh, why not? I'll watch it, which is The First Mask. I haven't seen The First Mask since I was, I don't even know, since I was a kid. But the story has always been fresh in my mind, to the point where you don't need to watch it. Like, it's still in your mind. It still left a good impression. But I decided to watch it again, just to see like how it holds up. And still a great movie, man. Still a great movie. The second one, we ain't gonna talk about that one though. But the first one's a good movie. Has some subtle darkness to it, which is, I don't know, because Jim Carrey, you don't really think of dark stuff, but it was a subtle darkness. It wasn't like over the top, whatever, but it was there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's a good movie. So one of the first movies that have came out this month that I've been anticipating and excited for was One Piece Film Red, from the popular manga anime One Piece. What movie is this? Is this what, the 13th movie? Maybe? Let me see. I think it might be more than that. Which movie is this? They're not telling me. 15th movie. Okay, this is the 15th One Piece movie. This may be the second One Piece movie to go into America theaters, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Film Z was in America theaters. I think it actually was, but I think it wasn't like common, like certain, like only a select few theaters were probably showing it. But this one is, because this one was promoted heavy, as like even like the creator of One Piece, because usually the creator of the anime or the manga, when the movies come out, usually sometimes they have small roles in it, like mainly just approving the story, but he has a role in actually making this one and helping making this one, so this one was getting a lot of focus. But yeah, film Red, the film is about the character Uta, who is the daughter of Shanks, which, if you're not a fan of One Piece, all these names don't mean nothing to you. But basically she's a I guess the equivalent in this movie as being the idol singer. So that's her thing, and she wants to make the world a better place through her music. And I won't spoil, but things get shifty towards the middle of the movie. Great movie. The thing about this movie, which I probably feel some people might not like about it, this is a musical movie because obviously she's an idol singer. So there's gonna be a few times she breaks into songs mid movie, which for some people maybe that kills the tension, but I think it's good. It helps tells the story too and gives the emotion of how the character is feeling in the time of the song. Like, this is not a movie where Luffy is the main dude and we trying to figure out what he's gonna do. This is about her. Even Luffy understood that. He knows that this is not, he's not going to be the end all be all to helping the situation. He understood. He understands his role in this movie, which is great. Which is also makes Luffy. All right, I say this before, I say it again. I don't know if I said it, but Luffy is probably the greatest created anime character ever. Because like I said, if you look at Luffy and people look at him on the surface level, they might just think he's just a Goku copy because of his silliness, but nah. This man is like, because he knows how to play his role. He knows when things are important to other people. He knows when to care for other people, when to fight for other people. It's like that instinct feeling that he has of empathy. That's what makes him great. Like, he can empathize with just about everybody, and that's what makes him a great character, because he's not just one dimensional. He can relate to just about anyone if he understands your pain and understands your feelings. But the also thing about Luffy is, one thing that he's big on is freedom, and he feels like, even if it's like if it's mental freedom, emotional freedom, literal freedom, like if it's anything that's shackling you down, he's willing to do what it takes to help you get free of that. And I don't know who doing that. But yes, great movie. My favorite One Piece movie still is the 6th movie. Anybody who's a fan of One Piece and seen that movie probably would know why. That's the most out there movie in the One Piece franchise. But this one is great. This one has more depth than the last movie. The last movie was a big, all out. It was just a big cast of people just going crazy and wilding out. It was a great spectacle. But this one had more depth to it. I personally, it's like, this is a tragic story for me. It's pretty sad and dark once you understand everything that's happening, like everything that's with One Piece. Don't let the surface stuff fool you. But yeah. The next thing to come out, and the last thing for me to talk about, is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It also came out. Short response to this movie. I say this is definitely the best in Phase 4. Definitely top 5 in my favorite Marvel MCU movie. this movie was almost perfect if it wasn't for them doing too much of a certain storyline. I don't want to spoil too much, but they kept on putting a certain storyline into the movie, which it was cool a couple of times, but then it kept on showing. I'm like, it kind of, I don't care. So, and what I mean by like these being a great movie is because I talked about it. We talked about it in the last episode about how some of these movies are just like trailers to another movie. Black Panther 2 can be watched without the MCU, if that makes sense. You can solely watch this movie as a standalone film and not have to care too much about what happened before and what's going to happen in the future. It's its own thing. The only thing obviously that matters is, the death of T'Challa, which, because of Chadwick Boseman passing, that played a big role in what you need to know going into this movie. But other than that, in terms of the MCU storylines and whatnot, for the most part, you really do not need to know what happened beforehand. There's some things you have to know, like, certain people were like, where were you when this happened type thing, but it wasn't big. It was just a subtle, yeah. It was a simple one word answer type thing, so it wasn't too big. But great movie. Great story, great cast, great villain, if you want to know those things. Namor, well, he's Namor, but using the way that it was spoken, is pronounced Namor in this movie. It was just a good movie overall. Like I said, I don't want to spoil nothing. I don't want to talk too much about it. If you can not see this movie, go watch it. Definitely up there in MCU films, and definitely the best one in Phase 4. If I was to break down Phase 4, well, the ones that I care about would be this movie, Doctor Strange, and Shang-Chi. Those are my 3 movies of this phase. And I know there's Spider-Man as well, but you know how I feel about that movie. I don't even know if Spider-Man Phase 4, the last one that came out. But that one, it was cool. But like I said, the problem, I have my problems. It's not because I want to pick on them. It's just because of storytelling and what you can tell in a story. Is like I said, like everything that Tom Holland Spider-Man been going through with all his films, and like I said, it's not trying to be like a nostalgia thing, but it's like everything that he's been going through in all these films been perfectly told in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. Like just about almost everything was kind of told in the first Spider-Man movie that was in like almost all of the Tom Holland movies. So it's like it took him too long. The fact that one, it took him too long to understand how important it is for him to be Spider-Man, and 2, the fact that it took other Spider-Men to tell him how important it is to be Spider-Man. And that's where it's like, it's a cool movie, but is it a great Spider-Man movie by itself? Not for me personally, no. And that's how and that's where being a part of the MCU either hurts or helps your movie. Like being part of the MCU, it kind of helps the movie, but also it hurts the movie because of everything that's going on. Spider-Man is not the only focus. So what happens in Spider-Man movie is just a small, drop in the water to everything that's going on in the whole multiverse of everything that's going on leading up to Secret Wars. So yeah, but like I said, Black Panther, like being part of the MCU, being the Black Panther 2 being part of the MCU only helps it, but with it not being part of the MCU is just fine because it's a great movie without the MCU. But since it's also in the MCU, it helps it because it introduced a couple of things in the movie, which I'm not going to say one of them, but obviously the other one introduces, the Black Panther, which this is not technically a spoiler because it's been in the trailers, but we have the passing of the next Black Panther mantle of who takes it up. So that's that. But yeah, Black Panther 2, great movie. Like I said, almost perfect if it wasn't for putting in certain storylines that don't need to be put in too much, because I didn't care too much about it. And like I said, I don't want to spoil, but there's a character in the movie who's been in the other, like she's been in the other shows and the other movies as well. Like, I don't like that character type. It's not so much her. I don't like that character type. There's certain character types I don't like certain things I don't like in shonen anime. I don't like. So yeah, but that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about for today. And yeah, it's getting chilly out there now. Like last week was like, I guess the last week of heat. Like it was hitting 70s last week, but now it's getting cold. So bundle up out there. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, please be sure to share this, rate it, all that good stuff. I'm still trying to work on how to fix my branding and try to rebuild this or build it up. So like I said, I do want to be more, involved with whoever do listen to this podcast. But I need to figure things out more. So it's going to take some time. 2 years, but it's still going to take some time. Bear with me. Hope you guys still just enjoy this as always. Yeah. But yeah, until next time, hope you guys have a great day, a great week. I'm going to go finish Sonic. And yeah, peace.